It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
We've got a very special program for you this weekend, recorded on location in the Columbia River Gorge, bordering Oregon and Washington near the Dalles. What brought us down there this month was an event called Fish Camp. It's something we talk about every year on our regional show, Northwestern Outdoors, but it's something new for this show. Here's the deal. Fish Camp is an invitation-only event that's been taking place every September since 2003 at the Peach Beach RV Park on the Columbia River near Biggs Junction, Oregon. Ed Iman, a well-known walleye fishing guide and promoter in the Pacific Northwest, brings together a group of outdoors media members, fishing guides, tournament anglers, and members of the outdoors manufacturing and retail industry together for 5 days of camping, great food, and fishing. The great thing about the gorge near the Dalles are the choices you have, and you get to fish in an incredibly beautiful area. Now, most years, the majority of attendees head out to the Columbia River near camp in search of fall Chinook. But this year, the returns for these fish were very low, so low that they closed Chinook salmon fishing on the Columbia this summer. So instead, walleye, sturgeon, and smallmouth bass, well, they were the targets instead. For those who didn't want to fish the Columbia, you can drive up the Klickitat River or hike up the famed Deschutes River for salmon and steelhead. And there's also the scenic John Day River, which is chock full of smallmouth bass. As for me, I hiked up the Deschutes to try my hand at some of those salmon and steelhead, fished the Klickitat too, and hooked into a rocket of a metalhead that jumped several times in short order before wrapping me around a rock, and unfortunately, the two of us parted ways a few minutes after that. I also got to go kayak fishing out on the Columbia River, going after smallmouth bass. And fellow outdoors writer Dave Kilhefner took me to a private lake not far from a little town called Centerville, where we went fishing for trout, but instead caught a whole bunch of small largemouth bass. In short, it was a fun week of fishing. With walleye in mind, for this show, we'll be talking to a couple of professionals who really know how to catch them. One of them is Willie Ross. He's known around the Dalles as Walleye Willie, probably because that's the name of his guide service. Willie fishes the Columbia River all year long for walleye, and he'll give you some tips about how to catch them here this fall, some tips that will likely work in other big rivers too. We'll also get to talk to Keith Eschbaugh. He's a walleye tournament angler and the owner of Dutch Fort Custom Lures out of Pennsylvania. He's another returning Fish Camp attendee, but he's not going to tell you about fishing in the West. He's going to tell you about fishing one of the Great Lakes, Lake Erie, which has been absolutely on fire when it comes to walleye fishing this year. If you live in the eastern U.S., this is a fishery you need to experience, and Keith will tell you how to reel in a limit of marble eyes in a hurry. Someone else at Fish Camp is the crew from Cast King. They hail from New York State. We got to chat with Al Noriker with Cast King in January about some of the new fishing rods this direct-to-consumer company sells through Amazon.com. That's right, you won't find Cast King products in stores, and you won't find them going through distributors. They sell direct to you. And today, we'll talk about some more fishing rods and all sorts of other fishing gear you'll want to check out from the company that uses the tagline of affordable innovation when it comes to their products. One more thing that comes in handy at Fish Camp is a sharp knife, especially a fillet knife, because we've been filleting a lot of fish here. That's why we thought it'd be a good idea to check in with someone who knows a thing or two about sharpening knives and might even have something that'll help you sharpen some too. We're going to start things off with this Fish Camp edition of America Outdoors Radio with the giveaway. That's right. We're going to be giving away some knife sharpeners, pocket knife sharpeners to be exact, and they are from one of my favorite companies, Worksharp, based in Ashland, Oregon. With us here to tell you more about these handy pocket knife sharpeners is Joey Zachariasen from Worksharp. Joey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here.
So, Joey, I've got about 4 of these pocket knife sharpeners that we're going to give away. 1 to each listener, 4 listeners total. Tell our listeners more about these pocket knife sharpeners.
Well, it's a lightweight, simplified version of some of our other sharpeners. So it has just 1 diamond, 1 ceramic. So it's just a simple kind of catch up on the trail type of sharpener. You can put it in your pocket. I carry one in my tackle box. I carry one in my glove compartment. They have a lanyard hole, so you can put it on your backpack, whatever you want to do with it. It's super lightweight.
Well, it's super lightweight, and it's super thin. It will fit right in your pocket. It's only 6 inches long, and it's basically got 2 sides to it. Exactly how does this work? And why don't you do me a favor? Sharpen my pocket knife and show our listeners how.
For sure, John. So it's got 2 ends. You can hold it either horizontal or vertical. It's got a little grip at the end, so you can kind of grab it with your fingers. And then you're basically just going to run it along the guide and then try to keep that angle as you transition up the diamond on the first side. And then you're just going to turn it over and go back down the other side and just keep doing that. I like to do about 5 or 6 swipes. The nice thing about our sharpening system is they all have the same angles. So regardless of whether you're going from one of the handheld manuals or from an electric sharpener, they have the same angle. So if you're just touching up in the field, this is perfect for getting your knife sharp again.
So you definitely do one side first. What's the side you just did, and what's the side we're going to transition to next?
So first you do the diamond side. It's a coarser grit, and so it's going to get that edge on there for you. It's going to create a burr, lift a burr up there, and that's really where you're going to get the sharpness, is that burr wants to move around, and you're just going to get that down to a polished edge. So then once we transition from there, we just literally flip it over, and we just do the same thing on the other side. Again, about 5 swipes each direction. Come back up toward yourself. Get it up against the angle, go back down the other way, and then just do that 5 times on each side. And you're back in action.
I love it. Last question. This portable pocket knife sharpener that fits, like you said, in your tackle box, in your glove box, in your pocket, or anywhere else that's handy. How much does it cost, and where can people get it?
We can get this at Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse. It'll be on the shelf a lot of times, back in the gun rack or the fishing area, sometimes at the cash register, and we're selling it for $14.95.
$14.95. This is a great deal. Number 1, for you. Number 2, stocking stuffer for Christmas. Can't imagine a better one. And number 3, we're giving away 4 of them today, so you have a good chance of getting one for free. Here's how you enter. Go to our Facebook page, America Outdoors Radio. Like and follow our page. Look for the post. Look for the picture of this pocket knife sharpener, and just enter there on that post thread. All you have to do is just let us know where you're from, what city and state, and if you know the station you're listening to, let us know that too. Or if you don't do Facebook, I understand. I really do. Just go to our website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Contact us by email and give us the same information. 4, that's right, 4 listeners are going to win these, and we're going to give them away this week. Again, it's the pocket knife sharpener from WorkSharp, $14.99. Look for it at major sporting goods stores and all sorts of other places. Joey, thanks for telling us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, man. It was good to be here.
I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our show. It's Sportsman's Cove Lodge, and many anglers who have been there will tell you it really is Alaska's best lodge. Sportsman's Cove Lodge sits on a salmon highway full of kings and silvers. There's halibut too, and there are some really big ones. Finally, with decades of experience taking care of customers, Sportsman's Cove Lodge knows how to treat you right from start to finish. Ready to book your trip of a lifetime? Then call Sportsman's Cove Lodge at 800-962-7889. That's 800-962-7889. 800-962-7889 for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
Trolling for big salmon? Then tie on a spoon or spinner from McCombie's Custom Lures. These high-quality, made-in-the-USA lures help you catch more Chinook and coho. Whether you troll an Elite Series spoon, a Champion Glow spoon with a squid skirt, or a 3.5 Mini Colorado spinner, you'll be increasing your chances for a fish on. Look for McCombie's Custom Lures at Sportsman's Warehouse and other quality sporting goods stores on the West Coast and Alaska, or online at McCombie'sCustomLures.com.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Cruz through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. We make products for the relentless fishermen who know that big fish are caught by those who put in the work. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA, Fish Fighter products won't let you down. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's the Fish Camp edition. It is broadcast in the Columbia River Gorge near the Dalles, bordering Oregon and Washington. Beautiful area to fish at. And right now, a lot of folks are fishing for walleye. And one person who does this just about every day is local guide Walleye Willie. Willie, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, John, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's September, and traditionally, this is actually a tough time of year to be fishing the Columbia River for walleye. Why is that?
Well, you know, this year is a little tough. Last year we did real well at this time, and I attribute it to the shad run. Last year it was a little bit slow. The shad run wasn't quite as much. This year it was just outrageous, the amount of shad that came up.
Outrageous just begins to describe it. Folks, generally there's about 2 million shad that will come up the Columbia River over Bonneville Dam a year. This year, near record run of 6 million plus shad. And there's lots of little shad that are now coming downstream, and walleye and bass and all the other fish are just gorged, aren't they?
Yes, they sure are, you know, and it's been about a month now that I've seen this going on. And there's just so many shad out there that, you know, they're getting full. I mean, by now, after a month of this going on, these fish are pretty much full and just taking it easy. And hopefully this shad smolt run will go through and we'll get back to some decent fishing. Right now, it's tough.
You know, it's tough, but despite that, I know you, and I know some of the other people here at Fish Camp, you're grinding it out, you're getting walleye, and some of those walleye have been nice ones. We're talking walleye up to 7-8 pounds that have been caught in the last few days. So, given the fact that these walleye are just gorged with shad, how are you catching them?
Well, what I've found seems to be working best for me is something that resembles a shad. And one of the best things I've been using is the UV smile blades in silver and copper. Those blades, when they spin in the water, you can see they're just like a silver smolt coming down the water, and that's mainly what I'm picking fish on.
The UV Smile Blades, folks, they are made by Max Lure Company, and Walleye Willie is a pro guide for Max Lure Company as well. Willie, let's talk about once the shad are done, those walleye, they got to keep eating. It's going to get a little easier to catch them. How are you going about it when we're talking about October, November time frame? And I'm kind of looking for tips, not just for the Columbia, but other waterways as well. How do you like to catch fish during this fall time of year?
Last year, October was fantastic. We did really well on smile blades, several different sizes. The smallest, the next size up are best. Some of the bigger ones work well too. And I'm using some of the pill floats, and beads. And the silvers work, the chartreuse are great. Some days, I've done well on the darker colors. The greens, some of the darker colors seem to work well too. Every day is a different day, so when I get out there, I start with 3 or 4 different blades on to see what's working. That's what I did yesterday. I started with 3 different colors. We found out what was working. We put all those on, and we started catching fish.
So you're trolling these spinner worm harnesses. You've got a night crawler on each one. You've got a bottom walker. And I know that the weight of the bottom walker is current dependent. Whether or not they're releasing water from the dams, I know is a big deal. But generally speaking, for somebody coming out here to fish for walleye, what size bottom walker should they have in terms of weight?
Most of the time I'm using a 2-ounce. I'm trolling downstream.
And that was another question I had. I'm glad you brought that up. Downstream versus upstream. Is it even worth trolling upstream at all to go, pun intended, against the grain, against the current?
Well, at times it is. And it kind of depends where you're at, how much current there is, how deep you're fishing. We did the show last month up in Boardman. We had 30, 40 mile an hour winds. We could not troll downstream. The only way we could go was with the wind. So we put on some 3-ounce weight to go back upstream because we have the current coming down. You're going to need a little more weight to get to the bottom, and you want that thing just ticking bottom. So I will go to a 3-ounce when I'm trolling upstream.
It can get windy out here in the Columbia River in the fall, so if you've got a boat like Willie Ross does, then sure, you're fine doing this. But you might want to be pretty confident in your abilities, and you might want to check your boat before you take it out, because it's really common, especially in the afternoons, for the wind to get going out here, isn't it?
It is. Later in the year we get, the less wind we have on this side of the gorge. They get the east wind from Bonneville Dam towards Portland in the wintertime, and our winds will die down. So I'm looking for that to happen here probably in October.
3 stretches of the Columbia you would recommend for fall walleye. I'm guessing one of them is going to be right by the Dalles, below the dam. That's a place you fish on a regular basis.
Yeah, we fished there yesterday, below the Dalles Dam. I like to fish John Day is a good place. McNary Dam, below McNary, is another good place. Right now, down below Bonneville to Portland, it should be really good. I've had some reports that it's been kind of slow there, but it might pick up soon.
And for those people looking for quantity versus quality, if you want a lot of walleye, which stretch of the Columbia would you recommend fishing? And if you're looking for big walleye this time of year, what would you recommend? Or does it even matter?
It really doesn't matter. I've caught big fish in every pool. For numbers of fish, I think below John Day is probably the most well-known for numbers. For big fish, below McNary can be real good. And night fishing can be real well. I used to do a lot of night fishing. I don't do as much anymore, but that's an option.
Well, that's because you're a good guide and you don't have to fish at night to go ahead and pay the bills anymore. You've got enough clients so you can just fish banker's hours, so to speak. One last thing, the limits here on the Columbia River for walleye, and what do you think of as a big walleye?
Well, the limit is no limit. I still have a limit because I don't want to see it fished out. It's my livelihood as well as other people I know. So most of the guides I know are keeping to a limit, 10 fish a person, which the limit was for years. And I hated to see that, no limit thing come along. And big walleye, I would probably try either here below John Day or below McNary.
And I don't want to let that go, because I think we've got listeners in some parts of the country right now that are thinking, why would they lift the limits on walleye, especially if you have such great populations and truly a world-class fishery? This kind of goes back towards a certain prejudice that fishery managers have for cold water fish over warm water fish, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. And, as an explanation of why, I can't come up with any reason.
I know that if you were to talk to state biologists for both Washington and Oregon, they would say the smallmouth bass and the walleye, they're eating juvenile salmon, they're eating juvenile steelhead, and that's impacting these fisheries. However, I know a lot of other people, yourself included, would make the argument that there's a lot of other predation that's causing a lot more problems than that.
Yeah, and I've been walleye fishing out here for 35 years. I've cleaned walleye for 35 years. Very rarely do I find a smolt in them. I do find them occasionally, but it's very rare. I find a lot more sculpin, pike minnow, and other bait fish, crayfish, and stuff like that.
We'll have to continue this conversation another time because it's a very interesting one. But in the meantime, if you find yourself out in the Columbia River Gorge near the Dalles, book a walleye fishing trip with Walleye Willie. Willie Ross has been doing this a long time. He knows his stuff. Great person to spend a day on the water with. I know I have sure enjoyed it. And his website is walleyewillie.com. That's right. Really easy to remember, walleyewillie.com. Willie, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, John, thank you so much for coming out and enjoying fish camp with us, with the salmon closed and everything. It's been a little different this year, and hope you're having a good time, and I know I am.
It's always a good time. Thanks, Willie.
Thank you.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing through education and work on behalf of wild public lands and waters. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting www.backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access. You can also demonstrate your support by signing up for the 2019 North American Rendezvous in Boise, Idaho, May 1st to the 5th.
I fish lots of lakes, I fish them all year round. Oh, I fish lots of lakes, everywhere I'm bound. Can't say which lake's the best until I try all the rest going.
Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we continue to broadcast from Fish Camp in the beautiful Columbia River Gorge, separating Oregon and Washington, close to our sponsor's location, the Dalles Chamber of Commerce. A lot of folks come here every year in terms of manufacturers who make lots of fishing goods, and they come not just from the Pacific Northwest, but from all over the country. One such company is Cast King. That's Cast with a K. Cast King, they make rods, reels, and more. And with us here to give us an update of what's been going on, and a lot has been going on since January when we had him on before, is Al Noriker. Al, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, good afternoon, and what a beautiful place. I mean, we're sitting here on a bluebird day in Oregon and Washington on the beautiful Columbia River. I miss it because I spent 25 years almost here in Portland, live in Denver now, and I was really excited to come back to Fish Camp this year.
Well, Cast King is a New York company, and I'm really glad that you made it from Denver and that you have some of your associates with you from New York, because a lot has been going on. When we talked in January, you were rolling out a new line of salmon and steelhead rods, but you've got all sorts of stuff popping out of the woodwork now. Tell our listeners about it.
Absolutely. So last year when you and I first talked, we were launching something that was near and dear to my heart as a salmon steelhead guy after all those years here in the Northwest, which was the Chrome series. That's Krome series of salmon steelhead rods, 15 models in the line, everything from a back bouncer all the way to are really popular. And since that time, they've blown up, and that is the Pro Troller rods, 10.5 and 12-foot Pro Troller rods. But that was just a starting point. When I joined this company, it was a unique opportunity for me to build so many new products focused on every aspect of fishing, whether it be saltwater inshore rods, walleye rods, professional elite series tournament bass rods, and much more to come. Fly rods, oh my gosh, I've got some new fly rods coming that's going to knock your socks off, and those are coming very soon too. But since we last talked, we've launched over 300 new products, and that doesn't include just rods and reels. We've since launched sunglasses, a beautiful line of sunglasses with beautiful frames, durable, great clarity on the lenses, even with readers. And a guy my age, I definitely need readers to make sure I'm tying those knots correctly. And so that's really, really important. We have over 50 styles of sunglasses and colors. A line of tools. Our new fillet knives, already number one on Amazon after only 5 weeks of being available. Dry bags are coming up. Tackle bags, sling packs, shoulder bags. There's so many new products, and there's much more to come.
Now, a lot of our listeners are trying to process this. They're thinking Cast King with a K, Cast King with a K. I've never seen Cast King rods in the stores. I've never seen Cast King reels in the stores. I've never seen any of this new stuff in any of the sporting goods stores I go to, whether they're the big box stores or the little mom and pop stores. And you've got a reason for that. I mean, there's an answer for that.
Yeah, and this is, again, not only an opportunity for me to develop real quality gear and bring it to the consumer at affordable prices. Our business model calls for us to take our products only to the consumer directly. In that way, we don't sell through traditional retail. We sell only through e-commerce. Our main way we get to the customer is through Amazon. And it's very easy to go to Amazon, especially if you're a Prime member. But if you were just to go to Amazon and in the search bar at the top, type in Cast King, that's Kastking, one word, and you'll see everything that we're offering today. And it's literally hundreds and hundreds of items, from reels to rods to tools, accessories, apparel coming, fly rods coming, some really unique items. But
well, I'm going to interrupt you here, Al, because I'm staring at your shirt as we're talking. And by the way, nice shirt. I'm going to just share that for you visual people on the radio here. But your tagline is right below Cast King: affordable innovation. And I think I just touched on, or you touched on, the innovative part with all these new products that are coming out. As for the affordable part, I think you just touched on that as well. Because you're not working through the stores, through distributors, you're not having to do all that markup, and you can go ahead and make the price point lower, but still offers the same quality that some of these other rod companies can't, because they do have to mark it up.
And that's really what's so exciting to me, is because when I was building rods for major tackle manufacturers, we knew we had to sell that through two-step distribution, either through a sporting goods distributor or direct to a retailer who took their markup, in some cases twice, if you go through distribution. And ultimately, the consumer has to pay a higher price that way. In this way, the e-commerce method, direct-to-consumer, is my opportunity now to build product at a much higher level of quality, including the components, the blank designs. Everything that I put into these rods, I'm able to give them product that would be 3 or 4 times what our prices are now, but because we sell to the consumer and cut out those middle 1 or 2 steps, now the consumer is the one that takes advantage of really superior quality. And maybe a good way for me to describe this is you're going to see some very exciting news coming from Cast King in the next, say, 60 days, where professional elite series anglers and professional anglers around the country. In fact, we just signed the professional kayak bass fishing champion as a pro staffer.
Wow.
And he certainly wouldn't take on our product line without knowing that we have the best reels for the value and for the money he's going to spend and for the consumer is going to spend. He wouldn't sign with us if we weren't the real deal. So I'll give you an example. We offered a new reel last year at the Bassmaster Classic. It was called the Speed Demon Pro reel, casting reel. 9.3 to 1 gear ratio. At the time, it was the fastest gear ratio reel in the entire industry. Since then, one of our competitors has taken one step up in speed to slightly over 10, but we had been the fastest gear ratio reel on the casting side, but that reel was only $89. I believe the competitor model is over $200 to step up.
Oh my gosh. Something else I want to talk about. You brought a whole bunch of rods to Fish Camp here. Your rods are readily identifiable because of the very high-vis tips that are on these rods. Tell our listeners why you're doing this. It makes perfect sense, folks. Believe me.
Yeah, sure. So I was working with a gentleman out here, Bob Reese, who is our Northwest pro staff guy. Bob and I spent hours down on the Tillamook Bay and the North Oregon coast testing rods, not only to make sure the actions were correct, but when we realized one thing is that when a guide or even just a sport angler on his own is fishing a long boat, he might have 4 to 6 people on that boat, and he's using a wide spread. So in the front of the boat, he might have a 12-foot rod. In the middle of the boat, a 10.5-foot rod. In the back of the boat, maybe an 8.5 or 9-foot rod. And he's extremely busy. He's running the motor, trying to stay away from other boats and watching every rod tip to make sure that he knows when that strike happens, and worry about gear and not getting run into a rock, or all the things that he has to do. The advantage that we've given him is what we call the strike tip. So about the top 18 inches of that Pro Troller and the hotshot rod and the back bouncer rod are a bright fluorescent orange. So we call it the strike tip. And especially in low light conditions, whether it's early in the morning, late in the evening, or, low light conditions, foggy, rainy day, that strike tip is so readily visible from the guy running the boat or just another angler. You see that flash of fluorescent orange when that strike happens, and you can immediately get to that rod. You miss less fish, and it's just a quicker reaction time.
There you go, folks. When we talk about affordable innovation, you just heard about some of the innovation that is occurring with Cast King. Again, they're out of New York, but you can buy Cast King rods, reels, and other products worldwide. The place to do so is Amazon. Just look up Cast King, K-A-S-T King, K-A-S-T King. That's Cast King. They've eliminated the middleman so they can bring you quality products, all sorts of fishing gear, all sorts of rods, all sorts of reels, at a price that you're going to enjoy. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, I just appreciate your time, and to all the listeners out there, please give us a shot. You won't be disappointed. Our customer service is second to nobody. Nobody will leave unhappy, I promise. If there's anything, any question, you can call me. You can call our people at the corporate office, and we will take care of you. Cast King is here for the long term, and we're all about customer service along with affordable innovation.
That's Cast King. Check them out on Amazon. Al, thanks for joining us again on America Outdoors Radio.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day on the water.
Stick around. We've got a lot more coming your way from Fish Camp. But for now, let's fade out with a little music from John Kurkowski.
Sugar Lake, Mud Lake, Long Lake, Ann Lake, Swan Lake, Lake of the Woods. Oh, I fish everywhere. Maple Lake, French Lake, Grand Lake, Cedar Lake, Pleasant Lake, Clear Lake, Bass Lake, Collar Lake, Goose Lake, Gull Lake, Round Lake, Bear Lake, Rice Lake, Sugar Lake, Mud Lake, Long Lake, Ann Lake, Swan Lake, Lake of the Woods. Oh, I fish everywhere.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offers spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Hello, I'm Mark Hempstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh is proud to be celebrating over 40 years of providing you, our valued Shiloh customers, with Shiloh's sincere friendliness, efficient customer service, and clean, comfortable, attractive, non-smoking rooms and suites, all at an affordable price. Shiloh also offers many free amenities like free Wi-Fi and free continental breakfast or hot, full, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns, as well as pools, spas, steam, sauna rooms, exercise fitness facilities, and business centers. And even the kids stay free. And for you dog lovers, Shiloh is very dog friendly. So ask your best friend where he or she wants to stay. Next time you're traveling for business or pleasure, we think you'll get a pause up for Shiloh Inns. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family owned and proud of it.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. Fish Fighter products are used by the top fishing guides in the Northwest because they know having the right equipment is imperative to a successful fishing trip. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
Trolling for big salmon? Then tie on a spoon or spinner from McCombie's Custom Lures. These high-quality, made-in-the-USA lures help you catch more Chinook and coho. Whether you troll an Elite Series spoon, a Champion Glow spoon with a squid skirt, or a 3.5 Mini Colorado spinner, you'll be increasing your chances for a fish on. Look for McCombie's Custom Lures at Sportsman's Warehouse and other quality sporting goods stores on the West Coast and Alaska, or online at McCombie'sCustomLures.com.
Why book at Sportsman's Cove Lodge?
Why is Alaska like no other place on Earth? It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
From the way you get here on a float plane to the way you go out with the guides and the boats, it's just a professional experience.
And I said, this is as good as it gets. I said, if you can't catch fish here, you can't catch fish anywhere.
Your experience with us will leave you speechless.
Book now at alaskasbestlodge.com. I'm glad you're back because we've got some outdoors news for you, brought to you by Fish Fighter Products. They have a brand new limited edition sturgeon rod that they brought to Fish Camp, and I'll tell you what, it's a stout beauty of a beast. They only made 50 of them, and if you want one, you'll want to hurry. We're going to be telling you more about them next week on either this show or our regional show, but if you want to check it out now and get one, the website to go to is fishfighterproducts.com. That's fishfighterproducts.com for their brand new limited edition sturgeon rod. By the way, we thought we'd give you another reminder about those pocket knife sharpeners we are giving away from WorkSharp. Each one is worth $15, and we are giving away 4 of them. That's right, we've got 4 to give away. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win one of them is just go to our Facebook page. You'll find it at America Outdoors Radio. Like and follow our page. Look for the post where we're doing the giveaway, and just let us know where you're from. And if you know what station you're listening to, we'd love to know that too. If you don't do Facebook, I understand. You can contact us through our website. You'll find that at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Just go to AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com, shoot us an email with that same page. Say you want the WorkSharp pocket knife sharpener, and you're entered for a chance to win it. Chances are good you're going to get one. We're giving away 4 of them, and we'll do so after our last broadcast this weekend. Our big news story of the day comes to us courtesy of Andy Walgamot, the editor of Northwest Sportsman Magazine. He steered me to this story, which has gotten a fair amount of coverage in Utah and Idaho, but not much outside of those states. It seems hunters in the Wasatch Mountains of Utah have been seeing their gear disappear or destroyed as of late. The work, it seems, of those who don't like hunters or hunting. It happened again on September 1st near Parley Summit when a hunter had his trail camera and deer stands valued at over $1,500 stolen in this area. However, the vandalizing thieves who used bolt cutters to get at the tree stands didn't see the second set of trail cameras the hunter had set up. These trail cams captured perfect photos of well-known skier and mountain guide Andrew McLean and his wife Polly as they hiked away with the stolen gear. The photos were shared on hunter forums and throughout Facebook, where they went viral in a hurry, and it wasn't long until the two were identified by law enforcement. Not only were they identified by law enforcement, but officers served search warrants on their home and cabin and recovered the stolen property. Andrew McLean and Polly, who works as the assistant city attorney of all things in Park City, were both arrested, booked into jail, and charged with felony theft and misdemeanor malicious mischief for the damage they did to the hunter's property. The employment status of these two anti-hunting thieves and vandals is uncertain right now, but here's hoping that justice is served and the rights of hunters are respected. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we continue to broadcast from Fish Camp in the Columbia River Gorge, bordering Oregon and Washington. And we've got somebody here who comes every year from a long ways away. His name is Keith Eschpaw. He is the owner of Dutch Fork Custom Lures out of Pennsylvania. Keith, great to see you again.
Glad you have me.
So, Keith, we were talking about hot spots to go fishing around the U.S. And I understand one of the Great Lakes has been absolutely on fire this summer and early fall. Which one is it? And tell me more about the walleye fishing.
It's Lake Erie. For the last 5 years, they had awesome spawns and just about 100% spawn rate for 5 years in a row. Last year's fishing was tons and tons of 14, 15-inch fish. This year, they're 16 to 19-inch fish, and most of the charter captains going out, me included. For a 6-man limit, you're allowed 6 fish apiece. It usually takes you an hour and a half to 2 hours to catch all them fish.
That is amazing. Let's talk about size of these fish. Are we talking eater size, 14 to 18 inches? Are we throwing in some big ones too?
No, most of the smaller fish are aggressive, so you will catch tons of fish from 14 to 22 inches, and then you usually get 2 or 3 8 to 9 pounders.
You know, it's funny you mention this, because literally right after you told me about this yesterday when we were preparing for this interview, I actually got an email from the state of Ohio saying exactly what you did in terms of just the walleye spawning has been off the charts good. Perch as well, I understand.
Oh, yes. There's massive schools of perch out there. When after you're done walleye fishing an hour and a half, you go anchor up on some perch, and you can get yourself 90 perch in no time.
But I'm guessing on a big body of water like Lake Erie, if the perch spawn is good, that can't help but help the walleye because they're feeding on those perch.
Yes. Most of the walleyes we're catching now, the ones that we clean, they're spitting up smelt, lake shiners, perch, gobies, other small walleyes. They're just absolutely eating everything in sight.
Well, let's talk about how to catch them. It sounds like, as good as it is, a lot of things are going to work, but I'm guessing, being the owner of Dutch Fork Custom Lures, you've got some specific ideas of what people ought to be using on Lake Erie.
Oh, of course, we're going to promote our stuff, but spinner blades in general have been working. We have a blade called the butterfly blade. Northland Tackle sells it for us, and I've pulled more butterflies this year from a half mile an hour to over 3 miles an hour behind a dipsy diver, and it's just working phenomenal.
So that's interesting that you're talking about trolling behind a dipsy diver, because out in the Northwest, most of the walleye anglers, they're using bottom bouncers, but Lake Erie is a little bit deeper than these reservoirs that are only 40, 60 feet deep in the Northwest, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah, usually in the springtime, we're using a 1-ounce inline sinker and bottom bouncers, fishing 20, 30, 35 foot of water. Once them fish get out over 80, 90, 100 foot of water, they're usually about 40 to 50 foot down. The dipsy diver is just the perfect tool to get it down there. And basically, when a walleye sees something in open water, he knows it has nowhere to go, so they'll just chomp on it.
These butterfly spinners, you know, I'm so used to seeing products like Indiana blades or Colorado blades when it comes to a spinner worm harness on a walleye rig. This is very different.
Yeah, it's more of a propeller-style blade, but this type, it gives off a unique vibration and actually shimmies the whole harness, and it'll stop and go when you're trolling slow. And it just creates a unique action the fish haven't seen. And we've even noticed that they take the butterfly blade deeper down in their gullet than a normal Colorado or willow blade.
All right, so we've got some ideas on how to catch these fish using Dutch Fork Custom Lure products behind a dipsy diver, trolling around 80 feet deep. Let's talk about color, because 80 feet deep, does color matter?
To the Lake Erie fish right now, no. But in a lot of bodies of water, and when the walleye population isn't at that high, yes, colors definitely matter. One of the best colors we sell out here is called blue tagger. Back home in Lake Erie, we cannot catch a fish on blue tagger.
Very interesting. Well, we'll have to leave different colors for different parts of the country at another time. Suffice it to say, if you are back east and you haven't fished Lake Erie yet this year for walleye, you're missing out. You've still got time. Go do it now. Get some dipsy divers. Get some of those butterfly blades from Dutch Fork Custom Lures. Get yourself some night crawlers. Get on a boat and get some of the most delicious fish that swim in the fresh water. By the way, if folks want to find out more about Dutch Fork Custom Lures, what's a website to go to so they can find out more there and find out a place where they can buy them?
www.dutchforkcustomlures.com, and we can put you in with some the best charter captains out there if you want to take a charter.
That's DutchForkCustomLures.com. Check them out, and thanks for the great fishing report from Lake Erie.
Pleasure being here.
I hope you have enjoyed our special Fish Camp edition of America Outdoors Radio. Ed Iman, as usual, put on a stellar event, and there was a whole lot of fun to be had here, even without the normal amount of salmon fishing we're used to. That's okay, though, because as you heard over the last hour, there were certainly walleye, bass, and sturgeon to be caught in abundance. If you want to go fishing in this beautiful part of the Pacific Northwest, you can start planning your visit today by going to the Dalles Area Chamber of Commerce website. You'll find it at thedalleschamber.com. The Dalles is spelled D-A-L-L-E-S. That's right, thedalleschamber.com. When you get there, you can find several great hotels to stay at, and you'll also find the Dalles is a thriving downtown brewery district offering craft beers and food too. We got to try the beer from Freebridge Brewery and Sedition Brewing while I was at Fish Camp, and let's just say I was impressed. That website again, thedalleschamber.com. It'll get you links to things to do, places to stay, and oh yes, some links to fishing guides too. We've got to go, but before we do, if you want to hear our show online, you can do so at talkamericaradio.us. It's the new voice of conservative talk radio that you'll hear online, and we are part of their lineup Saturday mornings, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Columbia River Gorge is beautiful this time of year, and I hope you'll get the chance to get out and enjoy it. In addition to great fishing, there's great hiking, great bicycling, lots to see and do, and again, it's just a beautiful place to visit. Until next time, I do hope that the Lord blesses you greatly, and I hope that you get out there and enjoy some of the early fall fishing, hunting, and other activities that are waiting for you. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors, so don't let those opportunities go to waste. Get out there and enjoy them.